Hello friends, myself Dr. M. K. Gokru, Department Mathematics, Government College Ajmer. In my earlier lecture, we defined subgroups, complexes, complex, then prove some important theorems that whether a subset of G, say H, is a subgroup of G if and only if AB inverse belongs to H for all AB belongs to H. This was the theorem to prove a subset to be a subgroup, and here we didn't mention about the group, that is whether the given group is finite or infinite. But if G is finite, then we can straightforward H is a subgroup of G if and only if AB belongs to H. This was the theorem. If G is finite, then H is a subgroup of G, H which is a subset of G, is a subgroup of G if AB belongs to H or AB belongs to H. And with the combination of these two results, we also prove that if G is a group, whether it is finite or infinite, whatever it may be, G is a group and H is a subgroup, then this subgroup H is a subset, and this subset will be a subgroup if AB belongs to H. AB belongs to H for all A and B belongs to H, and second, A inverse belongs to H for all A belongs to H. Means we have to prove these two results, then H will be a subgroup. So we proved them. Later on, we proved that intersection of two subgroups is again a subgroup, and number of subgroups are there. If number of subgroups are there for a group, then intersection of all these subgroups will again be a subgroup, that we proved. And union of two subgroup, in case of union of two subgroup, that will be a subgroup or not. If union of two subgroup is a subgroup, then naturally one should contain other. This was the condition. And we gave an example that a group Z plus is a group, and it has two subgroup known as 4Z plus and H1 say, and H2 is equal to 5Z plus. Then union of H1 and H2, union of H1 and H2 will be equal to -5, -4, -4, 0 and 4, 5, etc. This was the union. And union of two subgroup is not a subgroup if one is not contained in other. This may be proved from this example, that union of H1 and H2, H1 is a subgroup and H2 is a subgroup, but union of these two subgroup is not a subgroup. Why? Because here -5 belongs to this, say H. Union of these two subgroup is H. -5 belongs to H, -4 belongs to H, but -5 plus -4 does not belongs to H. That is, this -9 is not a member of H, therefore union of two subgroup is not a subgroup in general. It is subgroup only when one is contained in other. That we have proved. Now today we are going to prove some more theorems about subgroups. That is, if G is a group, H and K are two subgroups. H and K are two subgroups. Then HK is a subgroup if and only if HK is a subgroup if and only if AB inverse belongs to HK is equal to KH. This is the theorem. That G is a group, HK are two subgroups, means they follow the property of subgroup, and HK is a subgroup implied and implied by or necessary and sufficient condition we can say necessary and sufficient condition for HK to be a subgroup is that HK is equal to KH, or we can say HK is a subgroup if and only if HK is equal to KH. Means we have to prove in both ways. How can we prove this? So, necessary condition, as I earlier, necessary condition. As we earlier told about the necessary and sufficient condition, that in necessary condition we take the theorem as it is and prove the condition. So, let us take HK is a subgroup. HK is a subgroup and we need to prove HK is equal to KH. This is for the necessary condition. And in sufficient condition, we are given HK is equal to KH and we need to prove HK is a subgroup. Later on we will prove that also. HK is a subgroup of G. Now, our target is to prove this one. HK is equal to KH. For any two subset or any two subgroups, we need to prove HK equal to KH. Then naturally we need to prove HK is subset of KH and KH is subset of HK. If we prove these two results, then naturally this gives us this result. So, how can I prove this result? Let us start with this one. I will prove this result, and in a similar fashion we can prove this one also. So, let us take any element from H and K. Say H1 is an element of H, H2 is an element of H, K1 is an element of K, and K2 is an element of K. These are the elements of the subgroups. H and K are subgroups. Therefore, H inverse also belongs, since H is a subgroup and K is a subgroup, so H1 inverse belongs to H, H2 inverse belongs to H, K1 inverse belongs to K, and K2 inverse belongs to K. I just write these results for sake of my simplicity, my way to write this one. Now, any element of KH, let us take any element of KH. Any element KH, K1 belongs to, K1 inverse belongs to K, and H1 inverse belongs to H. This implies K1 inverse belongs to K1 inverse, H1 inverse belongs to KH. This is the element, and KH is a subgroup. Therefore, inverse of this implies inverse of K1 H1 K1 H1 KH. So inverse of this K1 inverse H1 inverse of this element also belongs to KH. This implies inverse of this inverse H1 inverse and K1 inverse belongs to KH. Means these two elements, if A belongs to A and B belongs to A and B belongs to H the subgroup, then AB inverse will give us B inverse, A inverse. This was the result. This was the result for inverse. So this gives us H1 K1 belongs to KH. H1 K1 belongs to KH. But we are given that H1 K1 belongs to KH, and H1 K1 belongs to here. H1 K1 belongs to H1 belongs to H and K1 belongs to K. So H1 K1 belongs to HK. H1 K1 belongs to HK and H1 K1 belongs to KH. It means this is the element of KH and this is the element of KH, same one. So naturally KH is a subset of HK. Thus we have proved that KH is a subset of HK. In a similar fashion we can prove HK is a subset of KH, and finally we got this one. So we proved this one, that HK is a subgroup, then HK will be equal to KH. Now for sufficient condition, what is the sufficient condition? Means we are given G is a group, H and K are two subgroups, and we are given HK is equal to KH. This is given to us, and we want to prove, what is our target? To prove HK is a subgroup. Any set can be proved as a subgroup if there exists A belongs to this HK, B belongs to HK, implies if we are able to prove this AB inverse belongs to HK, then naturally HK will be a subgroup. So if A belongs to HK, B belongs to HK, AB inverse belongs to HK, if we are able to prove this one, then what will happen? How we can prove this one? A, this is say H1 K1 belongs to HK, and B is any other element, say H2 K2 belongs to HK. H2 K2 belongs to HK. And our target is to prove AB inverse, means this is your A, this is your B. AB inverse means H1 K1 and H2 K2 H2 K2 inverse. Now what is this? H1 K1 H2 K2. This I can write H1 K1 K2 inverse H2 inverse. This I can write H1 K1 K2 inverse and H2 inverse. Now think about this. Think about this. K1 K2 inverse. K1 belongs to K. K2 inverse also belongs to K. So K1 K2 inverse belongs to K and H2 inverse belongs to H. Thus, the combination of these two, this result implies that with the closure property, with the help of closure property, K1 K2 inverse and H2 inverse belongs to KH. And we are given HK, KH is nothing but HK. So this implies this K1 K2 inverse H2 inverse belongs to HK also, since we are given HK is equal to KH. Therefore this belongs to HK. But we know the member of HK are alike H3 and K3. H3 and K3. So instead of this, we can write here H1, H3, K3. Now H1, H3, H1, H3, K3. What is this? This belongs to H. This belongs to K. Means this belongs to HK. Thus we have proved that if A belongs to HK, B belongs to HK, AB inverse belongs to HK, it means HK is a subgroup. With the help of this result, we prove that HK is a subgroup. Thus we can say G is a group, HK is a subgroup, then HK means combination of these two will again be a subgroup if one is equal to HK is equal to KH. Thus we have proved it. Now what remains? If H1 and H2 are two subgroups of a group G, then H1 and H2 are two subgroups of G. Then H1 H2 or H2 H1, H1 H2 or H1 H2 may not be a subgroup. H1 H2 or H2 H1 may not be a subgroup. How we can prove this one? Let us take permutation. G is a permutation. G is a group of permutations of three numbers. 1, 2, 3. All possible permutations of this. G is a group. And H, let us take H1 is equal to 1 and 1, 2. This is permutation, identity permutation, and this is 1, 2. And H2 is equal to 1 and 1, 3. 1 and 1, 3. These two are the set of permutations 1, 2 or 1 and 1, 2. Let us take it as 2, 3. Since identity is there, therefore it is a subgroup. H2 is again a subgroup. Now, what will happen? H1, H2. It is H1, H2. We know H1 and H2 is nothing but the combination of these all, means H1 H2 contains 1 into 1, 1, 1 into 2, 3, 2, 3. These are all permutations. 1, 2 into 1, 1, 2 into 1 means 1, 2, and 1, 2 and 2, 3. What is 1, 2 and 2, 3? Let us evaluate this one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 3 and 2, 3. 2, 3 means 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So what will happen? This is 1, 3, 2. 1 image of 1 is 2, 3 is 3, and image of 2 is 1, and 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 3, 2. So this will be equal to 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. Means this will be equal to image of 1 is 2, 2 is 3, 3 is 1. That is 1, 2, 3. So this will give us 1, 2, 3. This is the permutation H1, H2. Now, whether H1, H2 is a subgroup or not, whether H1, H2 is a subgroup or not, let us first find the closure property. What is closure property? Any two elements of it are combined, then will the result of these two combination of these two elements will again be an element of this set. Is it true or not? In this case, we see that 2, 3 and 1, 2 are two elements. So let us try to find 2, 3 and 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 and 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3 means I can write straightforward in such a way. 1 image of 1 is 2, 2 is 3, so 1, 3, and image of 2 image of 3 is 3 and 3 is 2, 1, 3, 2. This will be 1, 3, 2. The combination of these two results, combining these two elements, we get 1, 3, 2, which is not a member of this one. Therefore, H1, H2 is not a subgroup. Even it is not closed, so it will not be a subgroup. Now, one more theorem. Prove that if A at any element of a group G, then H is a subgroup. A is any element, G is a group. G is a group having some elements. Say these are the elements and this is the operation. One of them is A. A is an element of group G. Then we find a subgroup such that A raised to the power n such that n belongs to Z. N belongs to Z. This is the subgroup. Why? It contains identity. Since this is a finite group or it is any group, their identity is there, and A raised to the power n, any power of n will give us identity, so identity will be there, and we already proved such a type of subgroup, and that is known as cyclic subgroup. Whether this is a subgroup or not, first of all, let us try to find this is a subgroup or not. For any subgroup, we know if I am using the capital letters for the elements here, say A belongs to H, B belongs to H. If we are able to prove that A, B inverse belongs to H, then H will also be a subgroup. So A raised to A is nothing but any power of element of this H is a power of this element. All our powers, all elements of this set is the power of A. So let us say A raised to the power n. A is nothing but A raised to the power n belongs to H. B is nothing but A raised to the power r belongs to H. Now, what we want to prove? Find out A raised to the power n and B inverse. Since H is given to us and G is a group and AR belongs to G also, is a member of H, so this is a member of G also, so A raised to the power minus R also exists. And for the sake of simplicity, let us take n is greater than r. So A raised to the power m minus r. M minus r is again an integer. Difference of two integers is again an integer. So it is an integer, and thus this element belongs to this set H. A raised to the power m minus r. Identity is there. A raised to the power m minus r. Any power of the element A belongs to this set means AB inverse. This is your A, this is your B. AB inverse belongs to H. Then H will be a subgroup. And such a type of subgroup are known as cyclic subgroup. Its generator is A. So we can find if A is an element, B is another element, then we can find another H, another subgroup B raised to the power n such that n belongs to Z is another subgroup. So we can find many more subgroups of this group G related to its each element. So we get a cyclic group related to this element, a cyclic group related to this element, and somehow other elements also. We can get subgroups, cyclic subgroups of a group. Now, congruence modulo What is congruence module? A and B, G is a group, and A and B are two elements. A and B are two elements of G, and H is a subgroup. H, G is a group. H is a subgroup. Then A and B are two elements of G. They are known as congruent to each other. A is congruent to B under mod H, under mod of this subgroup. Under mod of this subgroup, if AB inverse belongs to H. These two elements are congruent to each other if AB inverse belongs to this H. So this is known as A and B are known as congruent to each other. Let us say if A and B belongs to H itself, then naturally A and B are element of H and H is a subgroup. Therefore AB inverse also belongs to H. So elements of this H are congruent to each other, and if they does not belong to H but are outside of H, these two elements are known to be congruent if A is congruent to B if AB inverse belongs to H. This is the definition of congruence modulo under subgroup H. Now, there is a theorem that relation of congruence modulo in G is an equivalence relation. Relation of congruence in a group G defined by in such a way then it will be a equivalence relation. Equivalence relation. Now, what we need to prove? Equivalence relation means we need to prove that they are reflexive, symmetric and transitive. A belongs to G. G is a group, means A inverse belongs to G, and identity H is a subgroup. H is a subgroup. So identity belongs to H, and A inverse is equal to identity belongs to H. Therefore, A inverse belongs to G, A inverse belongs to G, means from here I can write this result A is congruent to A under mod H. Under mod H. This shows us the reflexive relation. Now, if A is congruent to B under mod H, B is congruent to C under mod H, then let us start with this. A is congruent to mod B. A is congruent to B, means AB inverse belongs to H. These two are congruent to each other, so AB inverse belongs to H, and H is a subgroup. Therefore, AB inverse also belongs to H. H is a subgroup. So AB inverse means B inverse A inverse belongs to H, and this is nothing but BA inverse belongs to H, and BA inverse belongs to H. It shows us that B is also congruent to A under mod H. Thus we can say it is symmetric also. The relation of congruence is symmetric also. Now for transitive, A is congruent to B, B is congruent to C, means AB inverse belongs to H, BC inverse belongs to H. These two are the elements. So with the help of closure property, AB inverse and BC inverse belongs to H. H is a subgroup. So closure property holds good. Therefore, with the help of associative property, I am writing here BC inverse belongs to H. Therefore, BB inverse is nothing but identity. So this is your identity. AC A inverse belongs to H, and AC inverse, finally AC inverse belongs to H, and AC inverse belongs to H. It means A is congruent to C under mod H. Thus we can say this is a symmetric, reflexive, symmetric, transitive. All three holds good. Therefore, it is an equivalence relation. Congruency with respect to a subgroup for the elements of G is an equivalence relation. Thank you. Thank you to all.